Hey guys, so this is Lane, and this is gonna be, I'm gonna try to walk with my babos and everything, because I got my Thompson chain, let me think, Earth installation, thin line, Thomas Nelson, KJV Minnesota, KJV preaching Bible, KJV Scarlet Canterbury. But the lettering, I know that's fading off, but I'm gonna try to work with these Bibles, and yes, I do have different purposes for me studying out of all of these ones. Like I'm gonna be studying out of 1 Samuel 17. And by the way, if this ain't going to anybody other than people new to like premium Bible sources, if y'all are buying premium Bibles that's true high quality, like Scarlet Canterbury, something like that, don't be afraid of getting, like, I ain't saying to go out and intentionally hold it, but don't be afraid of it getting a little bit scuffed up. Like the scout on the side, you can tell it's seen better days. And John, well, I would street preach very occasionally, especially back when I was very new to preaching. Oh my goodness, John, especially in that 3rd chapter, is very, the text itself ain't very messy, but on the edges right here, it's very messy from how long I'll be sending in the heat and my hands will get sweaty. But I'm gonna be sending in 1 Samuel 17:31. That's where I started off, and I'm gonna be sending down through 58. I've not made it all the way down just yet, and I didn't even realize that I wasn't on the page. Crap. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So 1 Samuel 17:31 starts off with Saul sending for David. David was down there to bring his brothers food and basically just military supplies and things along those lines, but nobody was expecting him to be a fighter against the Philistine champion. At this point, all David was a shepherd boy. That's all. And this is one of arguably the most famous stories in all of the Old Testament. Arguably, we can find though that Saul early on doubted David's fighting ability. And I get that because in verse 33, Saul says, it says, and Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine, talking about Goliath, to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. So he's already doubting him. But then David answered back and said, and David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock, and I went out after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God. So David already knows that that Goliath, that in the same way he killed a lion and a bear, that he's still gonna kill Goliath either way. David said, moreover, the Lord that delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear, he will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord be with thee. This is a very, very famous passage. 38. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put on an helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed himself with a coat of mail, and David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. It wasn't proven, and he didn't know how to use it. So he took it off, and David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off him. Then, notice this, and he took his staff in his hand, and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook. So I'm going to stop there real quick. Goliath had 4 brothers. He had 4 brothers, so he took 1 for Goliath and 4 for one of his brothers. And the reason he took smooth stones, they are better to fly in the air. And David must have known this, and that he was using a sling. At that time, that's probably what he was using, and that's probably what he had used against the lion and the bear. Out of the brook, and put them in a shepherd's bag, which he had even in his grip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine, and the Philistine came on, and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth. So in other words, he's mocking him because he's young and early. So he's young, early. I don't remember what early means. This is 1742, so I'm gonna go here. Okay, so this one don't say what these words mean. I believe it's the thin and offense edition that does. But it's gonna be way too hard with me having my phone up here. But he was like, he's a tiny little thing. The odds physically are stacking up to look really bad for him. And the Philistine said to David, am I a dog, that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistines cursed David by his gods. And the Philistines said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and to the beasts of the field. Then said David unto the Philistine, thou comest to me with a sword, and with a spear, and with a spear, and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied. This day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee. And take thine head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saveth not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. And he actually, at the end of this, he actually killed, let's see here. Verse 48, and it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sank into his forehead, and fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine, and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Catch this though. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, and took his, talking about Goliath, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. And that's a rough summary, and that's a great example. And like I said, I ain't studied all of this out yet. I'll probably make a video on the easy, like the beginner levels of the study, the intermediate, the middle, the kind of not so surface level, but not so deep at the same time that it confuses you. And then I'll go into a real in-depth study on this one in another video too. So please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, turn those post notifications on so it means to beat you next time. Peace.